Welcome to Future Customer Value, where global thought leaders share their career-defining moments. Welcome to the latest episode of Future Customer Value. I've got an awesome guest on today, Donna Weber. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Sagar. It's great to be here. Thank you for including me.
Absolutely. Well, we met in a really serendipitous fashion about a year and a half ago. I want to give our listener the story. So I was at SaaStr and SF in 2022, I believe, or maybe 2023. I can't remember. And I was at a CS meetup at the Notion headquarters, which is a great organization hosted by John Gleason and Monica Perez and Junan Pang. And Donna was there, and I had seen her from LinkedIn, but never met. And we connected there briefly, and I've stayed in touch ever since. And are due for another in-person meetup. So appreciate
We
you
are.
spending some time with me on the episode today. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's been great getting to know you over the past couple of months and years. So if you're not aware about Donna's great work in the industry, you want to give an overview of some of the highlights of what she's been working on in her career. And Donna Weber is the world's leading expert in customer onboarding and value realization. For more than 2 decades, she's helped tons of startups, established enterprises, from startup to scale up and beyond, transform their customers into the most loyal customers, because it all begins with onboarding. It's a critical piece, as we all know. She's been a author. She's published an award-winning book called Onboarding Matters: How Successful Companies Transform New Customers into Loyal Champions. She's been a speaker, a strategist, advisor. The list goes on. She really works deeply with leaders in the customer success space, CCOs, and everyone who touches go-to-market relating to onboarding and beyond. And prior to founding her boutique consulting firm in 2016, Dawn actually worked at a few startups where she built customer success and customer education from scratch. So a lot of great experiences there that are informing everything that Donna's going to help shed some light on today. And it's awesome to speak with you. So anything you'd want to add to that, Donna, or anything that you want to share with our listener about what you're working on now?
Well, what I'm really excited about is the customers, and really making sure that they're gaining value and able, that whatever we're doing is helping to make their lives better. And so I'm all about turning the lens on the customer, and not just when I say customer, not just the company, but the users. There might be executives, there might be partners, there might be shop floor workers, there might be plumbers, developers, admins. There's all sorts of folks who need to be, successful, and that's what I'm really excited about right now.
I really like that, and it's a really important point, I think, to kick off our conversation here, to refocus everything that our industry is doing in enterprise software and services back to the customer. And you had made a point in our pre-chat, which I liked a lot, which is about the hero's journey. Donald Miller, a great book that he's written, and it's all about transforming the concept of a hero from your company, it's actually not the hero, to your customer, who is the hero. Like you mentioned, the plumbers, the field sales reps, whoever you're selling to. They have these huge goals they need to hit, and you are helping them to hit those goals with your tools. So we need to refocus everything that we're empowering the industry with to focus back on the users and user heroes. So I'd love to have you unpack that a little bit for us, and anything you want to share on that point.
Sure.
This podcast is brought to you by Foresight, a full-service value realization platform designed to help you unlock growth in every single account. For more information on Foresight, please email them at info@gainforesight.co. That is info@gainforesight.co, and they'll be in touch.
Well, I think so. The hero's journey is something very kind of archetypal. I think Joseph Campbell, I know Joseph Campbell, he wrote about it. This is probably 20, 25 years ago or more. I don't know who coined the term hero's journey, but there's this idea that there's this kind of journey that a lot of cultures kind of go through, where there's somebody needs to reach a destination or a goal, and it's very challenging to get there. And then a hero will appear to help them reach their destination or goal. And in the book, Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, Donald Miller really helps to translate this in the business world, with the idea that the way our brains think is through this hero's journey. And if you watch or watch movies or shows or read books, a lot of them are based on this premise. So a really obvious one would be Star Wars. That there's Luke Skywalker who was on this journey that needed to go and save the annihilation of their planet, if I can remember. And Obi-Wan Kenobi shows up, kind of literally materializes to help Luke along this challenging journey, and then like literally disappears, right? So the idea is that that we need to help our customers be heroes. And the thing with technology, and especially business to business technology, is oftentimes these tech companies are founded by technical people who are really excited about the features and functions and think that the technology is going to save the world. I was at a tech conference a few years ago, and I literally heard like two founding CEOs going, "Oh, my technology is going to save the world. Oh, my technology is going to save the world." And that's awesome to be that excited and inspired. However, it's not about the technology. So nobody's world was saved just because they deployed a product and were able to log in.
Yes, yes.
So what I want to do is really help people to shift the lens to the customer,
Yeah.
that the technology and the services around it are guides to help the customer and their users be heroes. And so we kind of need to get out of the way, and we need to really know what their outcomes and destinations are so we can be there guiding them.
I think that's it's really a self-awareness mechanism I felt for a lot of companies and founders, where you get really obsessed and about your own tool and your own thing and think it's awesome. You have to have that enthusiasm. You got to sell it, right? You got to sell it to investors. Being a founder myself, right, I get that side of it, but you're not gonna have a business if people don't believe it and they see how you're gonna help them. The Obi-Wan Kenobi to the Luke Skywalker piece. So I'm curious to hear from your perspective a real story about that. Like, where have you seen and you don't have to name names or anything, but a company that's really internalized this hero's journey and use it to empower their customer through onboarding or through post sales or through whatever means that it's manifested for them? What does good look like in that world?
Well, the first thing that comes to me is in the world of business to consumer. I think the B2C vendors get that because they're really selling transformation. So, for example, marketing cars, they're not selling the car has four wheels and a driving steering wheel and a windshield. Like, that's not sexy. They're selling transformation, and maybe a Volvo's selling transformation around, I'm going to be a hero because I'm going to keep my family safe.
Yeah.
A Porsche is going to be, I'm going to be a hero because I'm driving this cool car and I'm driving fast. A Tesla is, I'm going to be hero because I'm an electric car driver and I'm going to save the planet. So I think they really get the kind of the end user, what they're trying to
Right.
gain. And they get that. Whereas, and they're selling that transformation, and hopefully they're delivering on that. I think in the world of B2B, we have huge opportunities to get to that transformation.
For sure. Is there a example within B2B you think, as I'm trying to paint the picture in my own mind of what does that look like? And I know if we look at some of these big companies, Salesforce, and I'm sure ServiceNow, you see the big posters of their customers and their users all over SF, right? And making their customer the hero, talking about them and everything. But
well, I think like, that I'm kind of struggling because mostly I talk with companies who need help.
yeah, that's
But
that's part of the point here, right?
I appreciate you brought up Salesforce because they have done something amazing with Trailhead, which
Yes.
is the way that they can enable different personas in a self-paced way. They're really good at incentivizing people to keep learning. I've attended Dreamforce once and was amazed to see people running around to all these different stations to collect these little trailhead stuffed animals.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they've collected all these points, and they knew their audience, they knew what motivates their audience, and they're giving them these great incentives so that they can really celebrate their successes. So I think Salesforce has done a great job with Trailhead. HubSpot has done a great job with HubSpot Academy, because they focus on not just how to use their platform, but how to be marketing heroes. They've done that, when marketing automation first came out, HubSpot and Marketo did great work at helping people understand what is marketing automation, evangelizing marketing automation, helping people know what it means to them, and not just throwing a tool out in a new category that people didn't know what to do with.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the broader point here is it's kind of hard to think about there's not a ton of examples in B2B. We got the big ones that we just mentioned, but I totally agree with you that there's opportunity and it's massive. And the way that I've been thinking about it, and I know you've shared a lot of this in some of your writings and your thinking, is around value, right? Customer value. And I really want to pinpoint, what does our end user and customer actually value in terms of their leading indicators, not the company, your vendor's leading indicators, but what do they need to hit to get promoted in their job? What do they need to achieve for their company? What are they actually thinking about? That's totally independent of your solution, but that's what their world is. And I think companies who can really do the discovery, ask the right questions, and glean that from their end users. And then this is the hard part, right? Is reorient your company to that purpose, to that North Stars. We exist because we need to help Donna hit her KPIs for the year. And these are her KPIs. This is how many, these are all the Donnas that we're serving, right? And we got to make that a reality for them. So that's, I know that that's a big topic right now, and value, measuring value, defining it, real value realization is huge. So I'm curious your perspective on that, and how do you see, or what do companies need to do to put the customer at the center of their journey, right? And transition to this, how to B2C world is doing it.
Well, I was thinking about, companies that aren't doing this right. What often happens is customers will revert to a legacy system. And,
oh my goodness, yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah, I said, oh my goodness, yes, I have a great example for this.
So what happens is, I've worked with and talked with many companies that have, sophisticated financial tools,
Yep.
analytics tools, fintech tools, and their legacy system, it sounds fancy to say legacy system, but the legacy system is a spreadsheet. Because, oftentimes people have been using spreadsheets for years, if not decades.
Yes.
They've customized them and tailored them. They have their conditional formatting. They've got their pivot tables, and they're really comfortable in those spreadsheets.
Yeah.
So what happens is let's say the CTO or the CFO buys a fancy fintech tool, or a procurement office buys it, and they roll it out, and maybe onboarding takes 6-9 months, but the end user, they just want to stay in their spreadsheet, and they don't see the one, it's not communicated to them why there's value in it changing. They're probably not enabled. They're not taught about what's in it for them. And so they revert to this spreadsheet, and the adoption is low. And then when it comes time to renew, that account churns.
Yeah.
So let's turn that around. What do we need to do to help them? And that is a big leading indicators to move off of the legacy system.
For sure.
So we need to bake the moving off the legacy system into the value journey for the customer, and not hope that they move off their legacy system. And that can be a key indicator of customer health.
Yeah.
So for example, they let's say, back to this fintech tool, they might need some understanding of the concepts and the context and the mindset before you even start talking about the technology, just like HubSpot has done a great job with.
For sure.
They might need some change management, so they know what's in it for me. And then they may need some very specific enablement for each persona. So maybe there's a business analyst persona, maybe there's an accountant persona, maybe there's an executive persona, maybe there's a business user persona, and each of those needs to have a very personalized journey that defines the value and then takes them on a journey to help them obtain that value so that they're excited about this new product very quickly. The studies of neuroscience and the way the brains work show that people are wired to resist. There's a great book I read by Britt Andriotta called Wired to Resist. And the science shows that we like to stay with the familiar, and we actually find the familiar more attractive. So when people are shown photos of people, let's say I show you photos of 10 people. If there's 2 or 3 of those, and I want you to rate who's most attractive, if there are some of those who you've seen before, you're going to rate them as more attractive. So we need to like really create a bridge from their current state to this future state, where value is delivered and not just hope they figure it out.
The point about change management is a really important one that a lot of companies they're not, I would say a lot of companies are not positioned to do the change management as much as they need to be doing. And something I've been reflecting on in the context of our own business, right? We're competing in a space that has a lot of tools and go to market and post sales and revenue. And what I'm trying to think through is it's not the solution. If you think about the hero's journey and making the customer the hero, the technology is one part of it. It's like the lightsaber, right? You need the use your Star Wars analogy. You need to have the Jedi mentality. You have to have the intuition. You have to have the lightsaber.
Yeah. How many years of training did Luke go through to be a Jedi?
Exactly. Yeah. Like just because he got this amazing, powerful lightsaber doesn't mean he's going to defeat the enemy. He needs to learn how to use it in the context of his world and who he is as a person. So
I love that analogy.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing it up to start this. And in the business, in the B2B world, to me, that's people, process, technology, right? The golden triumvirate. And that technology has to operate in the context of the process and ultimately enabled by the heroes, the people, to do it. And if you're missing one of those, or if it's not contextualized together, it's not going to work because you're not pulled in. So a lot of companies, to your earlier point, they come in and try to force fit their technology because it's awesome and it's going to save the world and blah, 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 whatever. Okay. But if you have not done the work and the change management, the self-awareness to align that technology to the purpose of your customer, empowering that person. But here's the kicker, right? I think a lot of companies miss the process side and say, what is the actual workflows, the process enhancements that need to happen to embed the technology, enhancing the person to do a job to be done better, faster, stronger. And that's really often lost. And companies who are not doing that, especially in a saturated space, it's going to be hard. And I want to give an example that I've heard recently, which I think is so relevant. And think about legacy systems. I'm going to call it Microsoft, and love Microsoft, have good friends there. But I see them coming up as like the big, I don't know what to call it, the David Goliath, right? The enemy for a lot of B2B SaaS companies. And they do great work, but they also have a lot of solutions which people already use. And you made that point.
And have used for years.
Years, right? I mean, 95% of B2B SaaS is replacing Excel in some fashion and adding a bunch of capabilities to make you better, faster, stronger. Let's be honest. But beyond that, I mean, Microsoft has Teams, they've got Dynamics, they've got all these solutions. So I was talking to the founder, CEO of a 120 million ARR company, and they're in the communication space. And what he was telling me is we are every day running up against CTOs and CIOs who are calling me and saying, well, my team's saying, why don't we just use Microsoft for this? What's the need to use your solution? And this is a company that, from my perspective, right, they've made it, right? They've gone through acquisitions, they've PE backed, whatever. But even at that stage and scale, they're still dealing with some of these challenges. And it comes down to, you have to do the work of mapping to the change management, the workflow, people, process, technology. And otherwise you're still going to be viewed as just another, like, why can't we do this somewhere else?
Like, I know that in technology, we want it to be, hey, we've gone live and value delivered. And I know there's a lot about, product-led growth. And everything's about, AI right now. However, there is a need, especially in B2B, which often does need for that transformation, sometimes, more of a hand-holding. And there are opportunities for services and the experiences that really deliver that transformation. And, in the world of AI, and even PLG, I think there is even more need for these services, these experiences. I think people are craving the experiences. In general, I just saw it yesterday, something about people are burned out, they're overwhelmed, information overload. I just wrote an article about this yesterday. At work, we're getting a deluge of Slacks, Teams, emails, chats, texts, meetings. In personal lives, we're getting,
Election spam,
WhatsApps,
election
chats,
polls.
spammed, and so people are overwhelmed. In this book, Wired to Resist, it talks all about the kind of change management. And I think we need to just like be a lot more prescriptive and just say, hey, customer, we got it. We know what you need to do. Hold my hand, follow this journey. You're going to get there. And rather than hoping customers figure it out, I think we need to define that a lot more for them and charge for it. And because they are on, they're so overwhelmed, the velocity's increased, the attention span is shorter. They don't want to have to figure that all out. I think we need to like really define that process that you talked about and just be prescriptive. Later after this meeting, I'm going to the doctor. I go to a doctor, I want them to give me the prescription. I don't want them to go, well, okay, go do all the research and figure it out yourself. Like that's not why I go to see a doctor.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you just said you had a lot of gems in there. I want to respond to one of the ones that caught my attention, which is trying to jog my memory here. It's so AI, product-led growth, and assuming that that's gonna solve things, right? Again,
Check the box,
technology.
yeah.
Yeah, check the box. Okay, we have product-led growth. We're doing AI. Awesome. We're gonna have success. But that's still even if it's not your technology, you're still assuming that technology is gonna solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't solve the change management problem. To your point, Wired to Resist. I want to read that book now. But humans are like, if humans already have a really hard time changing, and now you're expecting them to change because technology